Good morning, good afternoon, welcome everyone. It's Anna T. Brooks here, and welcome to this beautiful interview with the divine Becken Fuggle, one of my absolutely closest best friends, soul sisters in the world, and also a master timeline therapist and an intuitive timeline therapist and master NLP practitioner. Now, I'm going to let Becken jump on and say hi in a second and ask her some questions about what it is that she does, because I'd love to obviously have her explain it a lot more than I can. But what I can tell you is that she is absolutely the leader in her field. I've met a lot of people, both in NLP training, and also in timeline therapy. And I've never come across somebody who works the way that she does. She actually trains other timeline therapists in upgrading their skills, because of the way that, her experience and her time has led her to really be able to guide her clients on a journey that's so unique, so transformative. And she just has this way of intuitively being able to tap in and to really know, where are we guided to go with this, and how do I facilitate this person to get to the clarity that they're seeking, get to where it is that they really want to understand, without the strict processes or without all of the rules that sometimes we have to learn when we first begin. And it's only in experience and time in actually working with others that we get to finally understand our own intuitive powers and how we can actually tap into that. And the experience is just expanded and personalized even more. And that's exactly what you get with Becken, because she has had the time and the experience working with so many clients over the years, that it is an entirely unique process, and it is an entirely personalized process when you work with her. And even people who are very skeptical or very doubtful, or just maybe haven't had the greatest experiences with anything of this nature previously, they feel so safe. They feel so expansive in her energy, and therefore, obviously, what they go through and what they actually experience and what they come out of the entire experience is something that blows them away every single time, because they can't even begin before they start to know what it is that's going to come up. And that's the beauty. And Becken holds this really heartfelt and really safe space, which is important, because a lot of this work is very personal. It can be very triggering and very confronting, where our mind and where our soul actually takes us in these sessions. And it's so crucial when working with someone that does this kind of work, that this is someone who actually looks after you and holds you in that space, because this is deep stuff. So I'm so honored that she has joined us in Soul Journey as one of your expansion artists. She has been there right from the beginning, and now with the relaunch of 2.0, she's continuing this. I'm going to share a little bit about some of the clients that have already gone through this process with her, and share a little bit about that in a moment. But I would love to hand it over to you, Becken, to share a bit about yourself, what obviously called you into Soul Journey, why you felt like this is, yep, you want to align with this, you want to help support my clients in this, and just to share what it is that you do and how it is that you work.
Thank you. I really could not have said it better myself. That was just beautifully articulated, just so you know. And I'm very honored to be in the space. And I think I will start with why I am aligned with Soul Journey and why I'm honored to be an expansion artist in this container, is because I feel like we are all multifaceted beings. We know that we are spirits or energy having this human experience, and that everyone has their own unique medicine and magic, and that within a container like this, you're getting such a beautiful, well-rounded portal of mind, body, and soul, and not just like from one modality, but from many modalities. And so it's like we can each bring magic to the table and see where, how to best go through someone's soul and to go through their medicine and their magic, and kind of cover like every aspect. And that's what I love, is that you cover so many aspects of someone's journey, because one person like me, I can do one thing, but together you know, those that come together in their modalities and their fields can give you so much more. And it's such a deep understanding of yourself, and kind of like, I like to see it as being a piece in the huge puzzle. And then when you zoom out and you see the bigger picture, it all comes together and you see this new, not even new, it was like what the original blueprint of your soul is and how we all came together to help you remember it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful.
It's just that's how I see it, is that I get to I love that I have the invitation to do what I do in this container and bring forth what I can to help whatever it is that that person needs to uncover. And I was an educator for over a decade in high schools, and I taught English and history and geography, and I have an undergrad in psychology as well. And there just came a time in my life where spirit called me forward to become an educator of the masses. And for me, that looked like going through my own healing journey. And that included doing master timeline therapy, master hypnotherapy, master NLP training. I went through doing a lot of energetic work and trusting, like you said, my own intuition, that as I moved on from like the clinical space that we are in, and that we we connect to spirit and connect to all the other things that are out there, we see how we can, or how I can better service other people. And that's where the intuitive timeline came through, is because the more that you know the foundation of something, the more that you are able to trust. And as I could trust in where I was being led, I could then take someone on that journey with deep certainty that they were safe, that they were protected, that, you know, this wasn't just for healing, but for activation as well. And timeline therapy, for those that don't know, is a regressive therapy. And a lot of the times it is what it is. Like, it goes many different places, but it is a regressive therapy in its clinical sense, is where we can find the root cause of trauma or emotions that are stuck within the body or the psyche and the unconscious mind, and we can then find out why it's holding you back, the limiting beliefs, the limiting decisions, the emotions that we have that literally keep us crippled or stuck in the place that we're at. And a lot of the times it's not ours. And so to go through this lifetime and do that deep shadow work, we can use this. This is, I would literally call timeline therapy a modality of deep shadow work that allows us to go back into our bloodline, into our cellular memory, our ancestral trauma, our past life trauma, our inner child wounding, our womb wounding. And we can use this meta medicine to be able to connect to the Akashic realms, the quantum field, and to your timelines that are happening simultaneously, to find the root cause of that, and then to be able to discharge that negative emotion and reprogram the mind and the body and your energy to be able to let go and to release that karmic debt, to actually not just break cycles, but bring them to completion. Like, what did we need to know that we didn't know? That what do we need to learn? And what does the body already know to move forward in our compelling future? Instead of creating stories around the past, how do we get to then create our compelling future moving forward, knowing that we have healed and completed those things that we needed to in this lifetime, because we have been deeply called forward, all of us. Yeah. So it's a journey. and it's and sometimes we don't even know what it is, because we can work with our inner energies, you know, the masculine and feminine. That for me, that's working with two different types of masculine and feminine energies. This is our versions of how we see men and women anatomically, but also how we see our inner fire and our inner creative energy, this deep primordial creative energy, and how we can create unity, how we can connect to these things, and how we can literally not even re-identify or create or reinvent ourselves. It's like the remembrance of who we were before we were even conditioned. That's probably like the most simple way that I can say, is that the process is a remembering of who you were before you even forgot that you were enough, that you were already born enough. And it is deep work because you are confronted with memories that you may not remember, or things that just deeply make sense about why you do the things that you do, why you think the things that you think, why you sit in the energy that you sit in. And then having that awareness is stripping away some of your identity and activating that new awareness, that higher ability to perceive your consciousness in this higher realm. And you can't go back. Like, you can't go back once you know what you know about yourself, and your unconscious mind has been opened. You cannot go back to the person that you were before.
Yeah 100%. That's like, that's exactly in what I would put in words of exactly why when Soul Journey came through me, and I had the next step is, okay, well, I need to find these expansion artists to invite into this container. And I already knew, like, straight away, it was very clear to me who I need to ask, and you were one of them, because that's exactly it with Soul Journey. It's stripping you back to who you truly are before, like you said, before you forgot, and also before the world started programming you with everything, you know, from your parents to what people you surrounded yourself by, to the situations you grew up in, to all of this other stuff that just layered on all of these different parts of you that aren't you. And it's not about, okay, let's create a whole new me, new year, new me stuff. It's literally, no, let's actually come back to who I am. Let's actually, let's stop adding extra stuff onto me. It's getting heavy. Let's actually take this stuff off and find myself, and then let myself evolve and grow. But instead of adding more things on, of like, oh, well, no, I just got to recreate myself and add on to these other things, and maybe I'll try this. Like, well, no, how about maybe we just take it back to you? Maybe we just take it back to who you truly are, why you came here, why you chose this. And that's a big thing with the clients that have gone through Soul Journey. A big part of the reason they felt called to this is because they're chasing their purpose. They feel like they've spent their whole life trying to figure out, why am I here? What is my real purpose? And it's only in actually going through this journey, you know, with working with myself, obviously, and then with yourself and with the other expansion artists, that through that time, one of the biggest realizations they get to at the end is, looking for my purpose was never the point. I am forever in my purpose. My purpose is to be here and to experience in the way that feels natural to me. And that is one of the biggest things that we take on from society, is like, I have to have a purpose. I have to, you know, define myself. I have to go pick a career so that I can tell people that I'm a accountant or I'm a whatever. And it's realizing, no, I don't need labels. My purpose is not myself for you, right? And so when you said that, I was just like, well, once again, that's exactly why you're here, exactly why you're in this container, because the work that you do goes so deep, so below the surface of anything we would even be able to consciously think about. Like, I'll share a little bit about when I actually did the session with Becken, because as you guys know, I invited the people into this container that I've worked with myself that have been truly instrumental in my growth and in my expansion, because I want you to have access to them as well. I don't want to hide these, you know, secret weapons that I have. And when I had my session with Becken, that was one of the most confronting, and I was one of those people who also felt like, I don't really know what I'm going to get out of this. I don't really know if I'm capable of bringing up things from past lives or anything like that. I just didn't. I went into it with an open mind, because I understand how to get myself into just let's open up to possibilities, but I didn't know what was happening or what was going to come through. And it was a result of that session that within a few days, I got the download for this incredible activation. It's called the quantum energy activation. And it's the first one I ever released. And it's still to this day my most powerful one, because it's literally designed to take you into the energy. You transform, you transmute the negative blocks in the way of your goal, and you step into the energy of the one big goal that you really have in your mind, that one thing that if you could just click your fingers and it'd be here, what would you choose? And it just, everything just flowed through me after that session. And to this day, like, it's still the most powerful activation I have. It's still the one that people book in for the most. And people book in for it repeatedly, because it gets better and better every single time. And there's just no way that I would have been able to access that part of me, that creativity within me, and that channel for it, if it hadn't been for the session I'd had with you, because the work that we did just took me into a whole realm. Like, obviously I'm not going to give details of where we went or anything, but it was very much to do with my feminine energy. It was very much to do with wounding around that, and where my feminine was essentially just feeling like I've got nothing to do. My masculine is in charge. It's taking care of me. It's not letting me do anything. It's not doing it from a place of hate or control. It's just purely like, you can't look after yourself, I'll look after you, I love you that much. But even, as we know, even the best intentions don't always give the best results. And that's exactly what was happening. And when we accessed that, and when I was able to, you know, really, really step into that and allow that feminine to come through and be like, it's okay, I can take care of myself, I can do this. It opened up the floodgates, and this activation came through. And then from that, you know, more things happened and more things happened. And it's just this thread, right? We were always working in these threads of life, of figuring out how something connects to something else. And it's those wonderful moments in life, especially in sessions like with yours, where you can pull at something, you can just like find that one point, and it's like a release point. It's like a trigger point where it's just like, oh, okay, now I can relax. Now I feel it. Like, it's amazing how that happens energetically. That's what we're doing. And like, that was literally my experience, and why I know how powerful what you do is, because after that I'm like, okay, everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to work with Becken, because like, she'll find your point. She'll find it.
It's interesting. Like, I'm so honored to hear all of that, and I'm so honored, like, from spirit, that I can feel the things that come forward for that person. Like, I'm very honored, and I'm very aware that, you know, I feel like I've been entrusted with this thing, and I have the certainty that I have because of the experiences that I went through with my own healing journey, and having to like trust in that process and surrender to that process. And it literally is life-changing how much that you don't even realize you already know, and the capacity that you have to create the activations that can happen within you, and the deep ownership of yourself. And like, within everyone's modalities, I feel like there is permission and there is ownership. And so it's like holding that sacred ceremonial space for you to be able to own your power that you already have, if you haven't been able to see it, if you haven't been able to reflect your gaze back on yourself. Because the prime directive of the unconscious mind is to protect you from hurt at all costs. The ego is not something that we get to say, oh, fuck off, like, leave me alone. It's like speaking to a child or someone who is your best friend. It's like, I get that you're trying to keep me safe. Thank you. But I see it, but I'm going to go this way anyway. You can come if you want to, but I'm going to go this way. But we don't know that we have another choice unless we have the awareness. And for a lot of us, we are very intuitive, but we are also very logical. And for some people, knowing that root cause is so necessary for the awareness. For some people, it's not so much. But for someone like me, once I have the awareness, it's like every little thing that is connected to that thing unfolds. It's like dominoes, and it's like the awareness becomes absolute. And from there, it just evolves and builds. And like you said, stripping that away, it's kind of like realizing the shadow aspect of, working in the shadow aspect of the shadow work that this is. The depth of it is that realm of, you know, disownership, of repression, of having to put a moral judgment on something because of our internal representation or our culture or those around us or our conditioning. It's like in that realm where we have just pushed so much of our stuff down, that is our gift. that is where that victim consciousness has been, where that person is so desperate to give you back your sword and to give you back your gifts and to give you back what is already yours, for you to reclaim, for you to re-own, for you to use to the highest of your capabilities. And it's feeling worthy enough to receive what you already are. You already are who you've been looking for. And if you can go through the process of allowing yourself to see those things and to own those things, and then to go on a journey like this, you are going to be a powerful motherfucker.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really like so much of what this is within Soul Journey, because of all of the different steps and all of the different experts that you get to work with, is every single area expands a different part. And because it's so unique in the way that we structure it, we always, when the journey starts, we go through and work out what is the order of the sessions that you're going to be having with every expansion artist. And there's a very intuitive and a very aligned order that generally happens. Everyone's a little bit different, obviously, but there is a process of, sometimes we need to start a little bit more with the conscious, a little bit more with the kind of easily digestible modalities that can like take the ego on board, to let it kind of calm down a little bit and put some walls down before we go into something like what you do, because there is a level of trust that needs to be present, and I do believe that pretty much anyone, even if they're not trustworthy or trusting, when they go into a session with you, it changes, because your energy is the more powerful energy in that scenario, and they can immediately step into that space. But it definitely helps to be going on the journey organically, to not be forcing someone into, okay, well, I want you to go and awaken. I want you to go and, get this realization. I want you to, have this massive aha. It's not an aha if the person doesn't get it themselves. Then it's just a learning. And that's not to say it's not powerful. Learning is very powerful. And especially at the beginning of the journey, I've found, with previous clients that have gone through this, that a lot of the very first couple of months is me pointing things out, me pointing out the blind spots, because they're just not aware of how to look at them. They're just not aware of that kind of level of themselves. But then, sure enough, as they expand, as they step back into their true power, not step, into someone else, but back into their truth, suddenly all of the ahas are coming from them, and they're messaging me, every week saying, oh my gosh, I had this realization. Oh my gosh, I shifted this. And then, oh my gosh, this happened. And they're the ones that are telling me this all the time. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, because that's that evolution of, like, we need at first to have someone show us how to move forward and how to see the things we cannot see. And as we step back into our power more and more, then suddenly those realizations come to us, and those ahas come to us, and we have those breakthroughs. And that's, I know from my personal experience, that's really what an aha is, or a breakthrough is when I reached it, not when someone else told me, like, oh, I know what this is. It's this.
100%. 100%. And I think that's really, like, there's two things there, is that you're like in a reality where people aren't aware of themselves. Like, and for me, my particular journey is like, I did not know that I was a creator of my own reality. I literally was at that, like, if we think of cause and effect, I was literally at effect where I lived in a life where I literally felt like I just woke up. Whatever happened to me. God was like, you know what, you're going to experience this. And, if it was bad, I was being punished. If it was good, it's because I was being good. And I literally had no idea that I could create my own reality, that my internal and external thoughts, literally created this external realm that I experienced. And this is what I see, is that you get to bring people from effect of life happening, to you, to life happening for you, where you can own your, all the things, good and bad. You get to own your truth. You get to take radical responsibility for yourself and for your creations and what it is that we've experienced. And I really think that's the aha moment, where you literally realize that you are the creator and the co-creator of your reality, and you fully come into cause, and you're like, wow, I never knew that I had this power and that divinity was within me. And that, like, building from that place instead of building from this place of I life just is and I'm just in it, is so different. And your intuition is so on point. Like, from what I've experienced with you, is that, like, you are so freakily accurate all the time. And so there is this safety as well, that is, like, you're invested in that journey and in that, using your own intuition, which in my personal experience is really spot on and very connected, and allowing, you know, that person to be held as they navigate that space. And then as they go, it's like as if you're on the journey with them, and then they're like, yeah, I'm ready to take the oars now, and I'm ready to direct myself through this river. And you're still there going, yeah, you've been able to do this the whole time. I'm so glad you can see that now. And giving people that power, it's like, we are so positioned as an audience of this globe, this earth, to be powerless and to forget that we ever had the power to create, that the divine was within. And that's what I love, that you're getting people to connect back to that place of not just healing and releasing, but activating, of expanding, of knowing more about themselves from a place that is themselves, and not from a place that comes from, you need to be better, you need to be more, you need to do more. It's like, no, you don't. You just get to embody your truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Okay, I feel like we have covered a lot, as we always do, which I'm so grateful for, because this is the point. I want everyone, that's feeling pulled towards soul journey, to get to know you, to get to know your energy, and to be able to tune in, because as soon as you do, you understand why you're in this container, why I invited you in, because there is just so much magic to what you do, to how the process that you take people through, and the understanding and the depth that you actually know of this, because of your personal experience, and also just years and years of obviously taking others through it as well. It's sometimes it's just hard to find words. Like, that's the reality, because a lot of what we do is beyond words, and a lot of, even our clients and everything, when it's, it comes time to get feedback or testimonials or stuff, there's less words than just, I guess, experiences and results, and just seeing how they have actually transformed, and how they are completely different people, and yet themselves at a level they've never known before. And that's the most beautiful thing to witness. So thank you so much for being in this space with us, and I'm so looking forward to anyone who's feeling called towards this journey, for them to meet you, to have their session with you, to feel the power of what it is that you do, and to have their own story, their own experience, just like everybody does. So thank you. You are
so excited, and
so much.
You. Thank you for the space, and thank you for the beautiful words and the honoring, and I'm excited to take those that come on this journey, and to see what happens, to see the magic. So thank you so much for you having me in the space for this beautiful transmission and interview. And I deeply love you, and I love the medicine and magic that you bring to this world. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't have complete faith and trust and certainty in your magic, and you are just incredible, and I'm excited for all of those on this journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys all very soon. Have a beautiful day.